Good evening. This is new tonight. An adult who lives in Douglas County has now died from hantavirus. State health leaders really want to be clear that this case has no connection to the cruise ship outbreak you've been hearing about now for a couple of weeks. Thanks for joining us. I'm Phil Lipoff.
I'm Alexandra Lewis. The state health department says this is a different strain, one we've seen in Colorado before. 9 News reporter Colton Chavez is here with those details. Colton?
Yeah, Alex, so it's a pretty rare virus, but the reason we're hearing about this death tonight is likely because of that cruise ship outbreak concerning a strain that can spread from person to person. Now, state health leaders want you to know what killed this Douglas County resident is a very different strain. Now, it's called hantavirus. Colorado has recorded 132 cases of it since 1993. 47 of those were fatal. Now, there were 4 cases in Colorado in 2025 alone, and prior to this Douglas County death, the most recent death was recorded in 2024. The state health department says preliminary evidence shows that it probably came from local exposure to rodents. Now, unlike the Andes virus linked to the cruise ship, this hantavirus cannot spread person to person. So in Colorado, deer mice are the most common source, and spring and summer are the peak seasons for the virus. 9 News medical expert Dr. Pyle Coley says if you spot a rodent or its droppings, there are specific steps you need to follow.
The CDC recommends is that you ventilate the area for about 30 minutes before you even get started. Then you spray it with a solution of at least 10% bleach and let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes. Then you cover up all your orifices, your eyes, your nose, your mouth, wear a mask, wear, gloves, double gloves if necessary, and wear some sort of protective clothing.
Now, the CDPHE says the risk to the general public right now remains low and the investigation is ongoing. So if you spot rodent droppings or a dead rodent in your home or garage, health officials say do not sweep or vacuum it. That can actually spread that virus into the air. Colton Chavez, 9 News.
New tonight, the Weld County GOP chair is facing charges stemming from accusations he tried to buy sex from a minor. The Larimer County Sheriff's Office announced the arrest of 24-year-old Hunter Rivera tonight. They say he was taken into custody yesterday during an operation targeting child predators. The Sheriff's Office says investigators posed as minors selling sexual acts online, and Rivera was one of 2 men who went to an agreed-upon location. Rivera now faces several felony charges. As he awaits his court date on Thursday, party officers in Weld County GOP are calling for his resignation. In a statement, they said they'll follow their bylaws and remove him as those allow. House and Senate Republicans echoed the call for him to step down, calling the charges, quote, sickening, horrifying, and beyond reprehensible. Tina Peters will soon be a free woman. Today, Democratic Governor Jared Polis commuted her sentence, saying she'll be eligible for parole next month. It is something President Trump has been pushing for months.
The former Republican Mesa County clerk is in prison for her role in allowing unauthorized access to her own county's election equipment in an attempt to uncover evidence of election fraud. 9 News anchor Kyle Clark is in Mesa County with reaction from around the state.
Tina Peters went looking inside the voting systems here in Mesa County for proof of President Trump's election rigging claims. She committed crimes in the process, but not enough, Democratic Governor Jared Polis said today, to warrant Peters being locked up any longer than the 1 year she served on her 9-year sentence. Governor Polis, Tina Peters has repeatedly, hundreds if not thousands of times since her crimes, talked about how she is not the least bit remorseful. But now she's written on a piece of paper that she's remorseful. Do you believe her?
This is where you have to be very careful. I don't think that she's remorseful for the opinions that she has or her belief in conspiracies. There might be 1 or 2%, even more of the population that believes things that are like that. The answer to that is not to put them in prison for what they say or for their beliefs.
Tina Peters wasn't convicted for her speech, but her crimes. Yet a judge had been ordered to re-sentence her for referring to her speech when she was originally sentenced. Polis jumped ahead of that to set her free, against the wishes of a bipartisan group of county clerks who said that freeing Peters will make their jobs running elections harder and less safe.
We'll do everything we can to keep our employees safe and secure, and hopefully that the political climate does not become violent.
The Republican DA who put Peters away says she humiliated their community, and the governor doesn't get it.
I mean, look at this beautiful place we live in, and having our county's name drugged through the mud for years. it really shows that he's not in touch with what we went through.
Democratic Attorney General Phil Weiser says freeing Peters will not stop President Trump from continuing to punish Colorado.
I believe this action will make Colorado more vulnerable to coercion, to bullying, and to harm from this administration.
Tina Peters will leave prison as she entered it, as a star and a martyr of the movement to overturn American elections through claims of election rigging. She may thank President Trump for squeezing Colorado until she got out, but it was one man, Governor Jared Polis, who set her free. In Mesa County, Kyle Clark, 9 News.
Kyle, thank you. Today, Governor Polis also granted clemency to a man who shot a Douglas County Sheriff's deputy nearly 2 decades ago.
He served 15 years of his 50-year sentence. Now he's preparing for his release. 9 News reporter Rhea Jaw is live tonight with that reaction.
Yeah, and that is the dichotomy of commutation, right? One person's second chance can feel like another person's wounds reopening. And that is the divide that we're looking at tonight between a sheriff's deputy who is still feeling the impact of the shooting and a former inmate who says this person has been spending his years in prison helping others rebuild their lives. Every year, same call.
Since then, pretty much every year like clockwork.
Same fight.
You know, for a while, my fight every day was to fight this clemency, and now that's gone.
For Brandon Kreitzer, the call meant freedom. For Todd Tucker, it felt like another sentence.
And then I get a call from the governor. Oh, by the way, you know, we're letting the guy who tried to kill you out of prison today.
All units, attention, all units. Shots being fired, 626 Adams being shot at.
In 2008, Todd Tucker was with the Douglas County Sheriff's Office.
I've been hit. I just don't know where yet.
He was shot in the arm by a 19-year-old Brandon Kreitzer. At the time, Kreitzer and Taylor Moody were part of a crime spree across Douglas County that included burglaries, auto thefts, an armed robbery, and a shooting that nearly killed Tucker.
I had numerous surgeries to basically put my arm back together. I still have lasting nerve damage to this day. My arm is not 100%, does not function as it should. Their crime spree has left, carnage throughout Castle Rock and all of the communities that they devastated for months.
Kreitzer served 15 years of his 50-year sentence. In the clemency letter, Democratic Governor Jared Polis wrote the crimes were serious, but cited Kreitzer's record in prison, saying he had no disciplinary convictions, completed a welding apprenticeship and college courses, and created the Redemption Road CrossFit program that has expanded and reached more than 2,000 inmates.
I did 11 years inside DOC.
One of those inmates is Taylor Doucet.
And then Redemption Road actually came into my life, and that was one of the biggest pieces to actually create that early intervention point with me. I would say kind of switching my ways. Learned I can still do good, even though I've done bad.
To Doucet, Kreitzer isn't just the 19-year-old from 2008.
I want to communicate the positive effect that this individual's had on so many people that I hope that at least counts for something.
Good for him, but it shouldn't weigh on getting out of prison after trying to kill 2 police officers.
June 1st will be the start of a second chance for Kreitzer. For Tucker, it's the end of a fight he never wanted.
As adults and as people, we have consequences for our actions.
Kreitzer originally pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity and appealed his conviction back in 2014 but was denied. His co-defendant Taylor Moody is still serving his 45-year sentence and is expected to be released in 2048. Kreitzer will be released on June 1st on parole. Reporting live in Denver, Rhea Jaw, 9 News.
It was another great day to get around outside and enjoy the unusually warm weather, but following 2 consecutive days of near-record heat, change, as it happens, is going to be on the way. Denver is facing a severe weather threat this weekend, while the high country is expecting some snow. For more, we want to bring in 9 News meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen. Corey, how bad do you see it getting in Denver, the metro area?
As far as the severe weather goes, I think Denver will just have the isolated stuff. So minimal chances to see that severe weather in Denver, although not zero. The Eastern Plains really is the focal point for the next couple of days. But we will have chances, and I'll show you that here coming up in the Futurecast. This is Denver right now. Another mild night here across the area. Still 73 here in downtown Denver at the 9 News studios, 67 at Denver International International Airport, and temperatures will be on the mild side once again tomorrow morning in the 50s. That will help us get to the 80s likely once again. Another very warm day across the Front Range. We'll probably hit 80 just before those afternoon thunderstorms start to show up. So we're looking at isolated storms on Saturday. Denver will have some storms in our area, and they will include some, at least small hail. And then Sunday, we'll have a little bit more widespread as a wave of showers go across the area. And then Monday is the day where it's more widespread cool rain. So I'll detail all of those coming up in the full forecast, which is in just a few minutes.
Corey, thank you. Colorado State Patrol working to figure out exactly what caused a deadly crash on I-25 in Douglas County today. The rear-end crash happened on the northbound side of the interstate, which is right near Happy Canyon Road, just after 1 o'clock this afternoon. It involved 3 cars. CSP says a 31-year-old man from Aurora died there at the scene. 58-year-old woman from Castle Pines was hospitalized. We don't know the extent of her injuries. CSP is asking anyone who witnessed the crash to reach out to them.